Hello and welcome to a highly questionable. This guy, Poppy, what's his name?
Miguel Smith.
It's right. Michael Smith. What do you like on the show today, Michael?
Just remember, Reggie McKenzie, Gruden getting rid of you is a good thing.
He can't claim him.
Did the Vikings get hosed by the ref?
I hate this micro-examination, rules talk after a football game, people colliding, risking their spines, making athletic plays like Bobby Wagner did on this one here. This is 240 pounds coming at you. And that's not legal. And the ref threw the flag and should have thrown the flag, but then they picked up the flag and it changed the way that game was going. Instead of Minnesota having a first down near the end zone, Seattle got the ball and won the game. But, Michael, Minnesota didn't do anything offensively in that game before or really after that. They did nothing in that game. I know they scored a touchdown with a minute left after Seattle had relaxed, but it's not like Minnesota did a whole lot to deserve that game.
No, they didn't deserve to win that game, but they wouldn't have had to do a whole lot from 14 yards away as opposed to down 6-0 still after that blocked field goal. That is a game-changing, seeding-changing, potentially season-changing penalty. Not your garden variety holding call or illegal contact that's missed. That is a personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct, 15-yard penalty that should have been granted. It's still confusing as to why they threw the flag and then picked it up when that is clearly illegal.
It was also job-changing, by the way. The Vikings just fired their offensive coordinator, even though they'd be in the playoffs as the 6th seed today. Seattle, by the way, we might want to mention them. They're playing really well. And Russell Wilson is somebody that everybody would fear playing against in the playoffs.
Before the Vikings start complaining, they should try to score more than 7 points.
See, that's right, Michael. You could score a little more than 7 points in an offensive NFL.
Maybe it's 7-6 if they actually call the play right.
How should the Vikings feel about Kirk Cousins?
This is such a confusing question because they gave him so much guaranteed money, and it's a weird story because the Vikings were very good last year. They seemed to be only a quarterback away, and they seemed to get a quarterback who was better than all the other quarterbacks that they had. But Kirk Cousins is now 4-23 against winning teams. That's 4-23. And while he should have made them better because that was the missing piece, you still wonder about Kirk Cousins' ability to out-quarterback another great quarterback, which is about the only kind you're going to see in the playoffs.
Put it to you this way. Kirk Cousins pooped the bed last night. But the Vikings have no choice other than to sleep in this bed that they made for themselves, thinking...
Expensive sheets.
You understand what I'm saying? They changed the sheets already. They've already fired the offensive coordinator. We'll see how that goes. But the problem is you gave a historic contract to Kirk Cousins when he is not a transcendent quarterback, to Dan's point. He is not the kind of quarterback that can overcome leaky protection or a lack of a running game or a lack of a commitment to a run. He is the kind of guy that needs everything around him going perfectly. So in other words, the Vikings are stuck like Chuck. You better make the best of it because he's yours for 2 more years.
To be fair, though, to Kirk Cousins, it probably should be noted that the advanced metrics are saying that the pressure he's receiving is unlike any we've seen in the league. That wasn't necessarily as much the case last night as it was the first 8 games of the season, but that's been a historically bad offensive line for much of the season, and I don't know who could do much of anything with that.
You know, I hate to admit this, but Kirk Cousins is not the only one who poops the bed.
Okay.
Oh.
He didn't seem like he minded admitting that, seeing as how he just said it on television.
Are the Raiders insane for giving John Gruden even more power?
They were insane for giving him $100 million in 10 years. They were crazy for trading Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper, but this actually makes sense. You didn't write him those big checks, or you're not writing those big checks in order to have checks and balances in the building. The GM's job there is not to generally manage much of anything. It's to get the players that John Gruden wants. And if Reggie McKenzie wasn't doing that and wasn't going to do that going forward, it only makes sense to surround John Gruden with the people from the bottom of the organization to the top that are going to do things his way, because make no mistake, that's his team no matter how much he likes to defer to Mark Davis.
And listen to this sound from John Gruden because he sounds surprised by all of this. By the way, only 3,320 more days left on that John Gruden contract.
This is all, somewhat surprising. There have been a lot of speculation and a lot of rumor coming out of here since early in the season. You don't know what's real, what's smoke, what's fire. You really don't. But we have made a change, and we have to respond, and that we will.
Michael said you got to get the players that he wants, but you also got to get the co-workers that he wants. There were a lot of reports earlier in the season that he was already going around asking his own people for their own information on players, circumventing around McKenzie. They tried to make it work for a year, but when you give a guy that kind of power, you also got to give him the people that he wants to work with.
Gruden, John Gruden, he should be Executive of the Year. for the Chicago Bears.
Oh, and the
That's
Dallas
it.
Cowboys. Split it. And the Dallas Cowboys.
too.
Split the trophy in
That's
half.
right.
Both to John Gruden.
I would vote
That's
for him.
right.
Mail them due, not Oakland.
Are the Yankees smart to want Manuel Machado and not Bryce Harper?
Ryan Cashman, the single best name given his job since Quentin Jammer as a cornerback, says they're not interested in Bryce Harper. They got enough outfielders, and they do have enough outfielders. So this is the same kind of player, not quite the same player, same kind of age at a position that they need more than outfield, and they can use some of the money that they save because Harper's going to go for more. They can use some of that money on some of the other things that they need.
Gregorius just had Tommy John surgery. They obviously need to show up the infield. Now, Machado is a much better third baseman defensively than he is a shortstop. But nonetheless, Dan just pointed it out. Not only do they have a lot of outfielders, they have a lot of expensive outfielders, so they're good there. But wouldn't it be the most Yankee thing ever just to find a way to get both of them? Like, who are we fooling? They're going to get both of them somehow. They said they weren't getting Stanton, they got Stanton. They're going to end up with both
That's
of them.
right. They're going to play on each other's shoulders at shortstop. It's going to be Harper right on his shoulders.
Oh, I have a great idea.
What's that?
The Marlins, they should sign Bryce Harper to a real big deal and then turn around and trade him for prospects. You know what I mean? That's what they should do. That's
yeah,
right.
That's it.
That's
That's
how you
it.
do
Quick turnaround.
Yeah, maybe backload it.
That's
Like
right.
paid him $1 in the first season and $400 million in the last one.
I like where your head's at.
Is Adam Ottavino right that he will strike out Babe Ruth every time if he played today?
Such a great quote from the reliever for the Rockies, whose stuff is nasty. And one of the things that he pointed out is the size of the bat that Babe Ruth was swinging. Back when those pitchers with second jobs as plumbers were throwing eephus pitches at him. The kind of slider that this dude throws is not something that existed in Babe Ruth's time. I don't think he would have hit 140. I think he would have gotten a smaller bat and hit home runs and fit very well in today's home run hitting game.
That's the bottom line. Like, dude, you're not striking out Babe Ruth every time. You might get him once or twice, but I'm sure he's going to get his off you too, especially given that he'll adjust to today's game. By the way, I can't believe we're actually playing this hypothetical out seriously. It's really great marketing. This guy's a free agent. He had a really good year this year, and if I'm another team, who better to decide and who better to sell to the fans than the guy who would strike out Babe Ruth every time?
Do you realize how outrageous this show would be in 1918 if we were airing this and somebody named Adam Ottavino was challenging the greatness of Babe Ruth?
Of course he will strike out the Babe every time. The Babe is dead, you know. That takes no brain
That's
power.
why we
you
should have
know.
started the
That's
conversation.
Right.
You
The
know?
Babe is dead. Anybody can strike out the Babe. I can do it too.
I mean, yeah, he could.
See, we didn't even have to.
I mean, he's right.
Why don't we just go to Poppy first?
He's right. The Babe's not getting any hits from the coffin. Come on.
That's it.
Too soon?
That's it. Coming up next on my son's TV show, Buster Douglas.
Do you have a memorable story of you got off the path and mom straightened you out?
Well, one was when I was a kid and I came home crying, and she jumped on me and told me that if I didn't go out there and fight that kid, that I was going to have to fight her. You know, I had to go out there, and it was like the next day I had to end up facing the kid again.
My son's TV show is brought to you by Domino's. Order online and track your order. Joining us at the beach today, Buster Douglas.
Author of one of the biggest sports upsets you will ever see. He joins us on behalf of his new 30 for 30. It's 42-1 is what it's called. That's what kind of underdog he was. It premieres tonight on ESPN. Let's talk to him. He doesn't like Michael. He said, get Michael out of here. So let's talk to him without Michael. Buster, I've read about you, and your story is a little different from other boxing champions that I've read about. You were not really anything other than a passive kid, were you? You were not like a violent kid.
Right, I wasn't. I was just easygoing, lead me to my candy, my bicycles, and that's it. Just leave me alone.
How much of a disciplinarian was your father, Buster?
Not much at all. My mother was the one that was a disciplinarian. It was moms that ruled. She was the one that ruled the hand. She had the ruling hand, and when she needed help, that's when she would say, call my father's name. Then he'd come in and finish the job. But she was the one that did everything.
So tell us about her, because I know how close you were to her.
Yeah, she was a loving woman. Loved to cook, take care of her babies. And she's a loving woman and very supportive and wanted the best for you.
I had read that when you lost her, it was a very dark time for you that took many years, that it was very empty.
Yes, it was a tough time. I missed her tremendously because she was always the one I could call and talk to, help me work things out. And, you know, she was a wonderful woman, you know. Can always go over there and get a meal, you know. She was a great woman. She was one to set you on the right path. You know, you got off the path, she'll straighten you back out. Send you back out.
Do you have a memorable story there? Do you have a memorable story of you got off the path and Mom straightened you out?
Well, one was when I was a kid and I came home crying, and she jumped on me and told me that if I didn't go out there and fight that kid, that I was going to have to fight her. You know, I had to go out there, and it was like the next day I had to end up facing the kid again. And he got in my face, and I stood up and got back in his face, and he backed down, and I couldn't believe it. And that was as far as it went, and then I couldn't wait for him to say something else to me, but he never did. He left me alone. And I'm thinking that's all it took, you know, and then I wanted to fight him, but he never would fight. So I was good after that.
Right after that?
Yeah, then I was all right. I was good after that until she did. Then kids were saying something to me, and I'll whack them. Then parents start bringing the kids over to the house. Like, look what your son did to my son. Until she did. Then kids were saying something to me, and I'll whack them. So she kind of had to slow me down, you know. The normal type of stuff.
Hold on just a second. We're going to change camera angles here. Hold on just a second. We're going to get my father involved. And what I threatened you with before, the difficult question, the hammer that my father wields. Here it comes.
Nice talking to you, James. Nice talking to you. Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you, sir.
Not a lot of people call him James. Poppy, what do you have for James Buster Douglas?
James, how did you get the nickname Buster?
Well, I was the first grandchild of my mother's side of the family, and so I was like spoiled, you know, and I got to do whatever I wanted to do. It started out as Butter, and then from Butter it ended up being Buster. But I was just a wrecking ball, man. I was a human wrecking ball. Got to do whatever I wanted to do when I wanted to do it, and whoever I wanted to do it to.
Okay.
All right,
That's fair enough with me.
All right. Thank you, Buster. We appreciate it.
Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you, my man. Gracias.
Gracias, señor. Gracias, señor Buster. Gracias.
Gracias. Thank you.
You may have heard me earlier in the show saying that nobody in the NFC wants to see Russell Wilson in the playoffs. He had all of 72 passing yards last night. This is the single worst day for me to make that claim in the history of Russell Wilson playing football. But on this play, what do you think? Does anyone fear Russell Wilson doing this against them in the playoffs?
Hey, memo to the Seahawks.
Oh, Russell.
Bad things happen when he throws from the goal line.
Oh, my God.
Bad things happen when he throws from the goal line. Even with 9 seconds left before the half, run the ball if you're at the goal line.
That is amazing. There is an almost drop, and almost dropped to boot.
Do you question if the Lakers are too selfish?
Okay, this is a game from last night. The Lakers won it 108-105. Last meeting between Dwayne Wade and LeBron James. Poppy fell asleep in the first quarter. He tried, but he's an old person, and you know how that goes. So let's check in with the unselfish Lakers.
Scores just his 5th point. He's 12th in the league and made threes.
Okay.
Now,
all right.
Gets his own rebound.
Way to stay with it.
What a pass.
Come on, man. What you doing,
Lance.
Of course it's Lance.
Yeah, and now we're going the other way.
They really want to be Showtime.
And that's Justice Winslow being Justice Winslow.
Oh, it's contagious.
This is not Showtime.
Contagious, bruh. It's contagious.
Okay, you might notice something here, though.
Can we close out possibly on Justice Winslow? Okay.
You may have noticed on the court there. Do you see LeBron? No. That's what they would look like if LeBron didn't play for them.
Luke Walton's face says it all. He's like, hey, what do you want from me? I didn't put this team together.
I didn't do this.
You want to stop all those bad passes?
How do you stop all those bad passes?
Well, you signed Melo. He won't pass the ball. He'll never pass the ball. You know what I mean?
That will always end in an 18-foot contested jumper.
Do you question if this was necessary?
A long time ago, Kelly Olynyk, who now plays for the Heat but wasn't playing for the Heat back then, hurt Kevin Love with what many people considered a very dirty play. So last night we've got Kelly Olynyk and LeBron James.
All sorts of confidence. He's shooting it again. That's off target, and LeBron.
Oh.
I mean, he
Caved
fired
his
it
chest
on
in with
the
that one. So are you suggesting? See, he helped him out. See, it's not retaliation here.
He did.
He brought up the history. Bam. Ooh.
He did. He probably just hit him like that because he smells like kombucha.
I got to make sure it goes off him. If it's too soft, I'm like, yeah, no.
He should have grabbed LeBron's arm and pull it out of his socket. That's the way you do it. That's how you settle the score. You know what I mean? That's right.
You get up and you immediately
That's
ruin
right.
the league because you're
That's
Kelly
right.
Olynyk.
That's right. Why not? Do you question if this was necessary?
Lloyd Summerall III is being recruited by Florida in football. There's a new thing in recruiting where if you want to take some pictures with the uniform, you can do that. And Lloyd says, hey, I'm the third. How about you also get a picture of the second? How about we get Lloyd Summerall II in here?
Pop's been waiting for this moment for his whole life. You are not about to rob Pop of his moment in the sun, okay?
Pop has swag. Pop also has a muffin top.
I love it. I love it. That's a package deal, baby.
I wonder how that feels.
How what feels?
Yeah, to have a talented son.
Oh, thank you. Yes,
right.
I thought I could tell him how it feels to, wear things that are too tight. I thought I could tell him how that feels.
Damn. That was cold.
Time to play the game that loves grapes but doesn't like grape flavor things. It's weird. See? Oh, no.
It is weird. It's like blueberries and a muffin, delicious. By themselves, not as delicious. Tell us what's on television tonight. We'll tell you if we're intrigued.
What does this segment become?
An excellent question by Michael.
On NBA TV, Raptors and Clippers.
Kyle Lowry is struggling. He had no points the other day. He's trying to fit with Kawhi Leonard, but Kawhi Leonard is better than Kyle Lowry and DeRozan together because the Raptors are better. Here is Kawhi Leonard telling a Christmas joke.
What's the first thing an elf learns in school? The alphabet.
That's about what I expected that to look like. Michael, are you intrigued?
Of course I'm intrigued. Meanwhile, Clippers, 17-9, one of the best surprises in the league. Still trying to get that guy, Kawhi.
How about you, Poppy? Are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. Do you know how the alphabet is different in Christmas?
How is it different?
There is no L. There is no L. Come on.
It took a second. It took a second for me to get that.
No L.
On ESPN, 30 for 30, 42-1.
This is about Buster Douglas, but my father likes to call him
James.
Yeah, James. Nobody calls him that, but it is James Douglas. This has got to be interesting, right?
Back then, it was just like going to an execution.
Introducing Iron Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson wanted to kill people.
I was out for blood. I'm probably not going to beat any fighter in the world.
Nobody thought James Buster Douglas would be any different.
It's been like that since day one.
The odds speak volumes. 42-1.
42-1. 42-1.
I was like, oh, wow, okay.
The challenger,
All the emotion,
James
all the anger.
Buster Douglas.
I can't even win.
Michael, are you intrigued?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's all you got for me. That's not
I
really
mean-
context, history, perspective. Just
You don't-
not,
is that what you're looking for from me right now?
No need, Poppy.
It's
We'll
the
get it
Buster
over here.
Douglas,
We'll
Mike
get it
Tyson
over
fight. I
here.
mean,
We'll
come
get it
on.
right here. The perspective we need. Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. Are you kidding me? That fight made history. You know, nobody was expecting James to win. And you know what? He surprised everybody,
That's right.
you know. And not only beat the crap out of Tyson, but he came out with the whole ear. You know, nothing happened to his ears. You know what I mean?
That's true.
right. You know what I mean? You know, when
Congratulations.
Tyson gets mad, you know what he goes after, you know. But he was not with him, boy. He just drew the line right there, buddy.
All right, and that concludes my father's history and perspective. He's going to put his glasses back on now.
That's right.
To be
That's my
more
guy.
Scholarly.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching.
We will talk to you again mañana. Thanks for watching. Oh my God! Wow, that was a lot. My father had some.